Keepsake of a lifetime, a 3D-generated, incredibly lifelike figurine. 66 cameras take an image at exactly the same moment in any pose, and state-of-the-art 3D technology transforms that into exact replicas of you, anyone you know or love, a pet, whomever is close to your heart. Create lifetime memories with a Doob. Visit their Facebook page at Doob 3D Kansas City, or better yet, see their incredible creations. Visit their location down on the plaza in the heart of it at 231 West 47th Street in KC Mo. Doob, be next.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
Looking for a truly unique escape from your normal entertainment or corporate team-building regimen? Stay tuned for an exclusive offer only for reasonably irreverent listeners. I'm excited to tell you about an extraordinary destination, the Exit Room, located in the heart of beautiful downtown Lee Summit. The Exit Room is a distinctive entertainment option that offers a cool alternative to the normal couples night out, family get-togethers, and corporate team-building events. The Exit Room is a one-of-a-kind boutique escape room catering to special occasions and corporate team-building events and is unmatched in the Kansas City metro. With 5 individually designed and varied escape room adventures, your party or employees can unplug from their electronic world, interact with one another, match wits, and ultimately escape the humdrum of the ordinary. The Exit Room adventures cross decades and centuries and create fascinating fun. I know the owners well. They are local folks, their staff is warm and friendly, their lobby is inviting and beautiful, and their adventures are award-winning. Check online. There are over 1,000 reviews, and note that they are a rare 5-star ranked business. Visit their website and Facebook page, and any of my listeners who books online at theexitroomkc.com using the promo code ClinkScale19 gets 10% off any ticket purchase. The Exit Room in Lee Summit. Unplug, interact, and escape. So now it's full-time coaching for you. You've scratched the itch of making sure that when you were 40, you didn't have regrets of playing professional basketball. I just wanted to ask you real quick about that experience. It seems like a lot of younger Americans, maybe guys who were raised in the city, maybe I'm thinking of a lot of times of African-American players, they don't seem to want to explore that particular thing. They'd rather I can't tell you how much I would rather play, and I played a lot of basketball in Europe than in the D League, but I think they feel like they're closer to the NBA. Just talk about it as an experience, as a life experience.
Well, it is. I think it's just challenging on everybody to go to a foreign land,
right?
Not know the language. Now we're spoiled because all those countries speak English and speak it very well. But it's hard because you're away from your family, and if you're in a smaller town, not near a city, you really only play one game a week,
right?
So it's more like a football season in terms of you play, except it lasts 9 months. So you'll occasionally play 2 games a week, but for the most part, you play every Saturday. And you'll practice twice a day or lift and run, and then practice in the afternoon. You'll lift and run in the morning. But for me, Europe, it's traveling in Europe from country to country is like traveling in the United States.
Right.
And so the things you could explore and see on an off day, that was remarkable for me. And I'm a history major.
Right.
So, it made it pretty simple for me. And I also, I think just because of the way I was raised with my mom and dad, having blessed to have both parents, I understood how lucky I was to do something I loved, and never mind that what I loved was a sport. And so to be over there playing and being in the gym all the time, it just wasn't hard for me.
Right.
I can see why it would be hard on other people. But I just looked at it like this is a blessing, and but you better play well, because if you don't play well, they're going to cut you.
Right.
And
Were you
learn
married
that side
yet
of
at
it
this
too.
point?
I was engaged.
Right, but you weren't married.
Was not married.
Right. Let's. So now, most you look at a resume, not so much as in football, where you guys will have 42 jobs. Being an assistant coach, but starting with going to Wilmington with Brad, you would actually have what would probably be seen as a pretty nice ride as an assistant coach, because you stayed with the same head coach and you went 4 years at Wilmington and then on to Wright State. So a lot of times coaches have to bounce around a lot more than that.
I've been really lucky. I've said, 4 years at Wilmington to be at your alma mater with Brad, and then he took the Wright State job. I went with him, and then it was 4 years as his assistant at Wright State, and then he got the Clemson job, and I was promoted. And I was the head coach at Wright State for 6 years. So to your point, Danny, 10 years in Dayton, Ohio. And let me say this, obviously praying for all the tragedy in Dayton. I have a lot of friends back there, and it's just tragic. And, I can't imagine the emotion. It's a great city. They will be strong and bounce back. 10 years of my life there. And to your point, I worked for Brad for 8 straight years. Didn't go. And some of that was, I had other opportunities. I'm sure there were times where Brad wanted me to take another opportunity too. I don't want it to come off that way because we always talk about 8 years together lasts longer than a lot of marriages.
Right.
And, we also had a different relationship because I played for him. Mm-hmm. And so we knew each other inside and out. And his wife, Paula, amazing woman. Their daughters, Kate and Abby and Kate. It just worked. And I think the success speaks for itself. But I was really lucky. I didn't move for 10 years. And in this business, to your point, that's unheard of. Yeah. But I have moved 4 times in the last 3 years. So it's caught back up.
Making up for lost time. You had a really successful run at Wright State. And when I started, my wife saw you speak at the Rotary Club, and she was really the genesis of this particular interview. She was very impressed with that. But I've really been doing research for quite a while now about this. But when I first started, I just really found it hard to believe you got fired. Now, there's some symmetry or some similarity, actually, to Coach Z here at UMKC. It had quite a bit of success, the most success in the 2000s probably, but they didn't have success in the tournament. Mm-hmm. You did have success in the tournament, except in the last game. How was your relationship with your AD? Were there other extenuating circumstances? Because you had 3 20-win seasons. You were the coach of the year. You had a 23-win season, I believe, your last year, and you lost in the tournament. I mean, how does a guy get fired in that situation?
We just live in a world where, especially, what I try to do is not allow – it was one person's opinion, and that person made the decision, and we'd lost in 3 championship games in my last 4 years. And, I think some of the people were getting restless, like, could we actually win one? But we were doing a great job, and we had a great program, a great culture. We were finishing the top 2 in the league basically every year now. My second to last year, we just were plagued with injuries, and I'm most proud of that because I knew we had that year before the 23-win season. We won 11, but 5 guys got hurt in all kinds of ways. We had 2 guys get in a car accident, which nobody lost their lives, and everybody was fine. Everybody got out and walked, but they had concussion. So then they missed 3 weeks, and then by the time they get back and get ready, we just had and to follow it up with that next year, knowing what I had to do to keep my job.
So did you pretty much know you had to go to the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I was told.
Clear? You were told that.
I was told that, and you know what? We played a really hard schedule. We started 3-7, and like some of the losses were Xavier, and that was the year Xavier was number 1 in the country at one point.
Right.
We played at Kentucky. We played some really, really good people. And then we finished the year, I think we went 19 or 20 and 5. And so to do that, I'm really proud. I didn't tell our coaching staff or our players what was told to me for the obvious reasons. But I think to start 3-7 and to still kind of keep the train on the tracks and to compete for a championship, we finished second in the regular season, and Valpo, who won the league, was really good. Their only 2 losses was to us. I'm proud of a lot of things. And then those kids went on and had great careers. And, it's just you can't explain it. It's the best thing that ever happened to me, Danny, and I mean that. I hope like this isn't on television, but hopefully you can see the sincerity in my face. And I'll tell you why. Because personally, I would not have met my wife, Melissa.
There you go.
We would not have our child, Emily. It is the best thing. If I could have a time machine, I would make sure I got fired. I would. If something changed and they decided not to fire me, knowing what I know now, I would make them fire me. And it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I met my wife. And then professionally, it's a great thing. I went. I got to learn from John Beilein. I got to be a coach in the Big Ten. I got to learn from Chris Collins. got to be around my family, and I've got to come to a place where I know, sometimes when you get promoted up, you're never really sure if when you get promoted, are they doing everything they can to help you win? And I know here Dr. Martin is doing everything he can to make sure we win and we're successful. And there'll be no excuses. I'm proud at Wright State. We were in a 10-team league. We had the 10th highest paid staff in the league, and I was the 9th highest paid coach in the league. And our budget wasn't where it needed to be a top 2 team. So when you talk about return on investment, they got a great return on investment. And for me, I love that area. I love Wright State. I love their fans, and I'm happy for their success. But it's the best thing that ever happened because I met Melissa. I didn't have her. She had Emily. She did all the heavy lifting and got to coach at Michigan and Northwestern and meet some amazing people and be around incredible coaches. And I joked about this when I went, and this is true. It's crazy how karma, and I am not, I am nowhere near on the Andy Reid ability. I'm nowhere near on it, right? I mean, and please, he's an amazing coach, and I hope to meet him one day.
Right.
As I've always followed him because when he was with the Eagles,
right.
I'm a New York Giants fan.
Right, and he was
kicking
butt.
And he was kicking our butt. And I grew up playing against Donovan McNabb.
Right.
Donovan McNabb was a great basketball player at Mount Carmel High School in Chicago. We grew up playing against each other. So I followed it for 2 reasons: Donovan and because of the Giants. And at Michigan, they asked me when you interview for a job at Michigan, you don't just meet with Coach Beeline. You meet with a room of like 7 people. Administrators, compliance, the whole thing. They get it right there, and they basically said, if you had this record here at Michigan, we probably wouldn't fire you. Did anything happen? I said, no, it's just one person's decision. There's nothing unethical, lack of moral ability, nothing like that. I said the difference is, and I think because you're here at Michigan, if you finish 6th in the Big Ten, you go to the NCAA tournament. Right. Could you imagine the pressure in the Big Ten if only one team went? How that would change fans' opinions. Sure. And so what I said to him, I said, we went to 3 championship games my last 4 years. I'm like the Andy Reid of mid-major coaching. We couldn't win that big one. And Coach Reid, they're going to win the big one with the Chiefs. I know that. And so that was my joke. So the irony was that now I'm in Kansas City, and people don't understand how hard it is. The big game, winning an AFC championship game is a big thing. Winning an NFC championship game is a big thing. Winning that semifinal game is a big deal. It's hard to do. It's really hard to do. And we had success winning the semifinal game, and I told my coaching staff here, if we make it to the conference championship game, I'm just going to call in sick. You guys can go win it. You guys can go win the title. So, but you try to. My point is, you try to have a sense of humor about things, because you have to remember any decision, especially in coaching, is usually done by 1 or 2 people, right? And I think we would all tell our kids that have dreams, don't let 1 or 2 people define you.
Right. And
I certainly, there's a great line: don't take advice from somebody you wouldn't take criticism from. And the person that let me go, that's how I feel.
Right.
And that's kind of how I've always lived my life.
Tell me how you met your wife.
Ooh, that's a great one. I was on a second date in Chicago. I was still living at my sister's. Hadn't found a place to live. It was August 24th. It'll be 2 years ago this month. And I'd gone out on a bad second date, and probably for her too. So this isn't probably more bad for her than for me. But my sister lived in the suburbs, and it was a Thursday night, and we didn't eat. We had a couple cocktails, and we just decided it's not going to work, and we moved on. Right? You do that as you get older. You kind of you don't want to waste time.
Right.
And so I didn't want to drive the 35 minutes back to Northbrook and not eat. And I was a few blocks away from my favorite restaurant in Chicago, Mastro's. It's my favorite, and it's got great steak and seafood. But I have the biggest sweet tooth, and I really wanted to go there for the butter cake. I'm like and I know you're going to bring that up with Coach Savosic, but I have the biggest sweet tooth, and it's not good. I have to change because I'm getting older and metabolism doesn't work the same. But I really just went there and wanted butter cake, so I went into Mastro's, and it's a great restaurant. But they have the bar area, so if you're alone, you can just go sit up at the bar and order what you're going to eat.